Okay, folks, this is another review for my students. We're starting 3D using Blender. Okay, as you can see on my screen here, I put this up and I've asked you guys to follow the 3 or 4 of my tutorials as a review. They're short, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure why people aren't following it, so I'll just make another video. Hopefully this one will stick, right? Okay, so this was basically, I wanted you guys to start with the cubes, duplicating cubes, and then moving objects according to the axes that they're on. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Number two, we're going to make a quick castle, which is a rook, and then I'll make this little ramp with the pillars for our portal unit, okay? Our game art unit. All right, so zoom in, zoom out is basically middle scroll button. I'd like you to hover at the edge of this screen until you get that vertical line so you can actually read what what these tools are. So T is for tools, N is for numeric input. So T and T is the way to remember that, okay? So this cube right now, it's at X, Y, and Z at 0. So if I just type in 1, for example, here, look where it goes. It moves 1 in the positive direction in X, okay? If I change that to 0, it's in my other lessons. It's okay. So basically, you have a couple ways of doing this. You can freeform it, but you need to go to the move tool. You need to move. If you want to move, I want you to go to move tool. But I like to stay in this. Even if I rotate or scale, I like to stay in the move tool because there's some advantages for this approach. Another thing, when you hold your middle scroll button down on its own and move your mouse, you are kind of orbiting around your space. You can do the same thing by just left clicking on here. So if you don't have a 3-button mouse, it's a great way to do it. Panning is just, you have to just move up and down, left, right, that kind of thing. All right, it's the hand tool. So to do that without this tool here, just hold down shift and middle scroll, you're able to do that as well. Now walk around the room, and I'm finding that most people are trying to look at things like this. And I'll say, move something in the Y. Oh, I can't see Y. Because you're not looking at it in its full scope. Okay? So try to keep everything in 3/4 view. That means front view, side view. Okay? So don't look at things just like this and try to expect to find another axis. If you look closely, the Y orbiting tool here is the Y axis here. Green for Y, red for X. Okay, and Z is up. Some of you, I also noticed, are working and Z is upside down. So that's okay. An easy way to do that, if you're not comfortable holding down the scroll button down, is just left click your mouse on top of the Z here and orient it that way. Okay, so that's the start. I'm just going to get rid of the numeric input by typing in N. Off I go. First and foremost, I said move things, right? There's the move. So move was also G for grab. Okay, G. If I press X now, look, it's only going to move on the X. So you can just go in here, the arrow tool, move something. Always click on the arrow tool. Don't click in here. That's too many axes at one time. That's not a great way to start things off. Okay, so just hover in the move. Pick a color and left click and move it accordingly, okay? I'm gonna press N, I'm gonna zero this out, back to its usual spot. 0, tab, enter. All right. Next, duplicate. And we're gonna repeat things over and over and over. Duplicate is what you'll be using to duplicate this on the side. So I'll go right click on here. It's also Shift D. So if I press X now, Blender is gonna create it for me. So if I'm going to select more than one cube, I know a bunch of you will do this, okay? But what happens when you do it this way, you're selecting other pieces. I'm going to delete this for now, so it's not in my way, okay? So click on one item, then hold shift, left click the next item. It's multiple selection. And again, right click, duplicate. And then which way do you want to go? Do you want to go X, Y, or Z? So let's say Y for now. I'm just typing in Y, and off it goes. If I press the period key on my numeric input, it frames the shot to those objects, frames it in. Also, it's over here. View, frame selected. Beautiful. Numpad, period key, done. All right. So now I'm going to click once, left click with shift, left click with shift, and then I'm going to right click, duplicate. I'm going to type in Z, and I'm going to move it up here like that. Done. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out here, and I look at my X view, click on X, orthographic view, and I'm going to select all 4 using the marquee selection method. I'm moving this over here. Sweet, done. Back in here, holding middle scroll button down. That's done. Always do your work in the middle. When you're done with it, move it somewhere else in space, please. Another way to create objects is to go to Add, Mesh, for example, Cube. Done. frame it by holding period, zoom out. There it is. I'm going to put my edges on so people can see the faces. Okay, so after this, I think in my image was 2 spheres and a cone, okay? So I'm going to go a little faster. This time, instead of going up there to add, up here, add mesh, I'm just going to type in Shift A, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go for a UV sphere. Okay, now if I press G for grab, and I press Z, this thing's only going to move up here. Sweet, right? I can duplicate, Shift D, Z, done. Shift A for add, I'm going to go to mesh, and I'm just going to go again, Shift A, and I'm going to add a cone. Okay, so you see I've lost it now, right? I don't know where it is. It's in there. What am I going to do, Mr. Balian? I'm lost. Well, if you look over here, okay, every item that you and I have created is here. So if I'm looking for the word cone is here. So if I select it with the move tool or without it, there it is, right? So now I'm just going to hover on the Z and left click, and it comes up. That part's done. Sweet. Change my view. I'll go to X. Now I'm going to just create a marquee selection. Off it goes over here. Done. Thank you. Back to perspective. Okay. And I'm going to come over here now. I'm going to create a cylinder. Sorry. Add mesh cylinder. Boom. There it is. Now I said to you guys yesterday that if you come over here, you only get one shot at this in this application. I don't know why. I think there's ways around it. But add cylinder starts with 32 faces, edges, vertices, and so forth. I'm going to change it to 20, just like that. Once I click out, that part is gone. Look, here it is. It's Gonski. It is no longer there. So delete one more time. Shift A, UV cylinder. Sorry. Let's do it this way. Let's slow it down. Add mesh cylinder. And Blender's going to remember the last input I made, and it's here. So I can change this to, let's say, 16 if I wanted to, for example. So I'm going to leave it at 20. So I'll double click 20, done. And once I click out, that's gone. So next thing is tab to get into edit mode. Right now you're in object mode, edit mode, right there. 1 above the keyboard on the QWE is 1, 2, 3. Press that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 is vertices, 2 are edges. Hopefully that's working. I don't know why. There it is. 2, 3 is face. Okay, I have an on-call coming up. I got to do this quickly. I'll just do this part. So now I've selected that face. There's an inset tool here. Look, inset. Left click, drag in. Personally, I don't like using that tool, so I'm just going to select here. I'm going to stay in the move, and I'm going to press I. It's much easier. I'm going to move my mouse somewhere out here, I, and just bring it in like that. Okay, let me just frame this a bit. There. Next thing, I want to select this entire loop. And the way it works in this app, you hold Alt on a Windows or Option on a Mac. So if I left click here between the two edges, and I touch between the two edges, it's going to go according to that direction. Left click, Option, left click, boom, it goes in that direction. Option, left click, let go, press E for extrude, off it goes. And extrude is right here, okay? So I'm going to do now, I'm going to select every other one. You select one face, you hold down Shift, boom, boom, left click, off you go, left click, and so on and so on and so forth. Okay, there. And I'm going to press E, or just you're going to do this. Okay, come up here. It's a lot slower doing it this way. There you go. That's all you had to do for that, and you're done. So tab out, you're out. Move this out of the way. Next. Okay, I've got a couple minutes left before I go. Let's see if I can pull this off. Let's go. I'll just make a pillar, I guess. Let's make a pillar. Shift A, cube. So we're going to use the same tool again, extrude, but for something else. I'm going to make these pillars for my portal, right? Tab to get into edit mode, right here. And stay in move, please. Don't stay in this area. Go to face, click on one face. E for extrude, out it goes. And I'm going to go into the Y view. I want to look at it this way, and I'm just going to go like this. Look, move that over a bit. See? Just moving it over on one axis, and then my image, I think I had an extrude here, so I'm going to press E for extrude and crank this up. Done. Tab out. If I tab out now, I can get out of this, or I go to edit mode, object mode. Done. Okay, move it over here. Duplicate it. Shift D, and I'm going to go in the X view. Done. Okay, now I want to rotate this. This rotate tool is going to be brutal for me right now because I'm not going to be able to do this perfect. I'm just going to go something like that, leave it just a bit. Blue axis is Z. So if I type in 180 here, that will absolutely work, hopefully. Done. Or another method to do that is you go R for rotate. Hang on. I'm just going to press the letter R for rotate. R, what axis do you want? Which axis? Z. And how many degrees do you want? 180, 180, enter, done. Okay, like that. All right, I grab both and I'll just move them down the middle. If If I look at things from the Y, I'll say something like that, just a little bit like that. Here we go. Shift D, duplicate on the Y. Here we go. And then Shift D again, Y. I'm repeating everything I'm doing with you guys. Okay, cool. All of this is done. Okay, I'm going to hold Shift here, grab these ones, and just move it out of the way. Now I'm going to talk about that last part, which is the indentation. Okay, I don't think I'm going to have enough time. I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Pause. Okay, I'm back, apparently. All right. So I'm going to do that other part, where that image is. Where's my picture? Somewhere down here. So I'm going to create this part right now. It's a platform with a sunken area, potentially for water. Thanks, Abby. You're making me laugh. All right. So here it goes. Forever you will be recorded, okay? Shift A, make a cube, period key to frame it in, and then zoom out. And now I can actually use, I'm going to use scale, but I'm going to teach you guys something I haven't taught you yet. Watch this. Scale it down, okay? Make it larger on the X and the Y. Guys, I'm on here, right? Yeah, thanks. So like this. So before I do anything else for insets, notice that you guys can look at this too. Whenever you're making in Blender later your assets and stuff and you want to add an inset, anything like, you know how you did the tower? You did extrudes for the parapet. If you don't do this part, it's not going to look clear. So watch this. Notice how I scale this cube, right? Ah, it is frozen. Most excellent. Freeze. Boom. You see that? You see this cube? Notice how it's scaled. Can you guys look? Guys, over here. I scaled it, right? But what I want to do is add an inset for it, right? So if you made the tower, you know what I'm about to do. I'm going to go Edit Mode, Tab, Object, Edit Mode. And I go to Face, click on the face. And I come in here with Inset. And sometimes you're not going to see things proportionally. See how it's not proportional? See how the sides are not proportional, right? So look at the difference now. Watch. I'm going to tab out. And I'm going to go to here. Watch this. Control A. It's your friend. Control A like that. Look what comes up. It says apply what? If I change the scale, look at my scale numbers. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Boom. See how it became 1, 1, 1? So every time you're making an object in Blender, after you scale it out and you want to go into detail, edit edges, all that stuff, apply a Control A modifier, which is clear out the scale so it becomes 1, 1, 1. Now if I tab in here, if I go to edit mode, my keyboard's not working well. And if I'm going to go in here, watch the proportions change. Now look how proportional that is. Sweet. Okay? Even when you add a bevel modifier and all that. So that's what I'm just showing here in the video, which will work for everybody. Okay? Cool. That's it. All right, I'm back here. I'm doing this. I'm going to leave it and move. And like I said before, I like the letter I instead of the inset method. And I just bring my spider web in, and I'm good to go. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to go into X-ray mode right here. Right here, X-ray mode. I'm going to go into vertex and select all these vertices. And I'm going to move them over like that for now. Something like this. If I want to make this part thicker, I can. I can use the marquee method and make this wider if I want, and so forth. Come back, get out of X-ray mode. And we do X-ray mode because if we select in a view and we're not in X-ray mode, it's not going to select the back. Like, watch this. So I'm going to select these ones, right? Look what happened. The front is selected, the back isn't. So that's why when I'm selecting multiple faces, I like to stay in X-ray mode. X-ray mode. All right, we're going to go to face here. I'm just going to do this part. This is kind of like, and then I'm going to E for extrude. Like that. Just going to go to the edge mode here, number 2. Just grab the top edge and bring it down like a ramp. Okay, done. Sweet, best part is done. Now I'll go to this face. I'll go into face mode here. All right. And I'm just gonna extrude, so E for extrude, and just bring that down a bit. Okay, there you go. This is what I did for my model. I'll tab out. I can scale this. I can type in S2, makes it bigger. S 1.5. Look, I'm just playing, having fun with it. Okay, I can do stuff like that, and I can move it. And then I'll bring my pieces here over. Shift left click, go into top view, pressing Z. And just bring these like that. I'll take these ones, I'll bring them over here. I'm gonna hold Shift now and left click. 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, so then these come over here. I can grab the middle two, click once, Shift left click, and then over, like that. Okay, we got something like that going on, okay? That's pretty much it. And then lastly, for those people who are taking screen grabs, I'm just gonna hit X for orthographic view, for example. I'll press N to get rid of my numeric input. So I'll just come over here. As you know, on a Mac, we don't have snippet. We just hit Command-Shift-4. I'll take a snip myself going like that. I'll hit X on the other side. I'll go hold middle mouse and Shift. Command-Shift-4. Like that. I'll go to Z, top view, and I'll just go like that, just a little bit closer. And I'll go Command-Shift-4 here, like that. And then I'm gonna come in here and take one, of course, right? This is not the right, it's not exactly what oops, I pressed /. Let's not do that by accident. It hides everything else, okay? So anyway, this is all here. Let's pretend that this is okay. What you do is you take a screen grab of it like this in 3/4 view, okay? In 3/4 view. And I'm gonna hit T to get rid of that. So I don't have my tools, Command-Shift-4 again. And then you bring it into your slides with your logo, hence you will end up with something like this. I'm done. Balian out. See ya.